Okay, we're back. We're back after a couple weeks of no job Dakota. Before weeks, I believe. The first week was because I was in Atlanta for render, and then the next week I was sick. Then the next week my guest canceled, and then last week the platform that we used to stream was not working, so I had to cancel the show like 15 minutes before the show happened. But after the 4 week break, we're finally back, and I'm here today with my guest Kevin Blanco. We are wearing the same shirts, the same Torc
Yeah, look
shirts,
at that.
so
We're
we're
rocking
both in uniform.
the Torc
We're up
swag.
in the Talk swag. Yeah, love it. It's great stuff. This shirt I got from Jason in Atlanta, actually. This is his shirt that he gave me to wear on the first day of the conference, and I did not give it back. Sorry, Jason. Um,
Shout out to Jason. Yeah, he
Shout
also
out,
gave it to
Jason.
me. Taylor.
Oh, did he? Of course, of course. Those guys, the goats. But yeah, so here we are for episode six. Episode six. So I've been like trying to retool the format of the show just a little bit. Usually I ask like fun questions at the end of the episode, but I think as people are kind of like slowly dripping in to the show, maybe it's better to start off with the fun questions so that the more informative stuff happens. Like 5 minutes into the show when more people are here. When everyone's kind of dripped in a little more. So I have a couple starting questions. Kevin, I know that you're a video producer. That's one of the main things that you do. I'm wondering about like some of the gear that you use, like some of the best stuff that you have.
Yeah, well, welcome everyone. Actually, it's a pleasure to be here. I always enjoy having conversations with people, and hey, let's
Great to
let's
have
get
you.
let's get everything here, man.
Yeah, man.
So for me, when I try to produce videos, is
Mhm.
just try to tell a story, and at
Yeah,
the end, the gear for me is just one tool, but it can be just the phone. Like actually, I've been
yeah.
just doing the latest videos I've been doing is just with my phone because I wanna
Oh,
I
okay.
wanna explain people like
Mhm.
yeah, I have all of this set up and great cameras and great gear, but you can tell
Mhm.
the same story and still be high quality with
Mhm.
your phone, which is the thing
Yeah.
that you have in your pocket. But yeah, I do have a setup here. Like this
Mhm.
is my B camera. This
I
is
love
a
it. Yeah.
Black Magic 6K. And
Mhm.
actually, I have something here. Let me just share
Yeah.
because I've plugged in my phone so I can share
Mhm.
this with you. So this is my camera switcher. This is where I plug all of
Mhm.
my cameras and all of my microphones.
Okay. Nice.
And so here I have my monitor
How
that I
how
can
many do
see.
you have like right now plugged in?
Right now it's just three,
Just three.
and, and
Okay.
and you can see that here in the monitor.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
my camera one,
Yeah.
camera one, two, and then camera three, and this is
Wow.
my
Nice.
phone. Like I've just plugged
Yeah.
in my phone via
Yeah.
USB, and this is the keyboard that I use for editing. Is very easy
Mhm.
to edit videos with it. Like I can
Yeah.
have a lot of function over there. So
Yeah.
that there's the B cam over there. That's the A
Mhm.
cam. This is the Blackmagic 6K.
Sick.
That one
Yeah.
over there is also the Blackmagic
Yeah.
6K,
Nice.
and then this is my phone. Uh, that's it. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
And yeah, I have a lot of equipment like
Mhm.
tripods and light
Yeah.
stands. Oh, I actually forgot to share the lights. Let me
Mhm.
share with
Yeah.
that. I have
Sure.
this. This is my key light that I have above me,
Nice.
and this is one other big light over there,
Yeah.
and I have this other lights here in the back. So yeah, quite a few
Wow.
lights, quite a few stuff in there.
Yeah, this is a professional setup. I really like that. That's cool. I'm trying to get a little more into cameras. I've always been like a big film guy, but I've never really had like any practical experience. Actually, I bought a camera recently,
Oh yeah.
relatively recently, like a couple months ago. It's an old film camera. It's a
Oh
Nikon
nice.
FM, and because it's a film camera, it's a little expensive to shoot with. You got to buy the film, you got to get it developed. But
Right.
it's fun to use because you have to get good. You have no choice. You can't be bad at it. You have nothing to hold your hand. So
Yeah.
since then, I've been trying to get a little more into photography, a little more into cameras in general. So I do plan to like save up to buy a nice digital camera. I'm kind of researching that. I'll get to it eventually. But yeah, I was very curious about your setup because I know that you have a lot of experience with this. You've been in this for a very long time. And yeah, so Kevin, tell us a little bit more about yourself. Who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, totally. So I will say that, long story short, I'm a technologist who enjoys telling stories.
Mhm.
So I combine those two things together, and it's what I do on my day to day. My story with being a very humble, not coming from a family with money, with land, with anything, and just on a farm place here in Costa Rica.
Mhm.
And I had the desire to do something with my life when it comes with having a purpose.
Yeah.
not only having a job, raising a family, and then dying. That's not my script. My
Right.
script is I want to leave an impact in the world, whatever that
Yeah.
is,
You don't want to
whatever the
survive. You
meaning
want to
is.
live.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I remember is, since we were poor, I was just in a farm-ish life.
Hmm.
One of the things that we didn't have was technology. We never had a
Right.
computer. We never had access to those things. And so when I went to primary school, I was that was the first time I touched a computer, and it was
Mm.
pretty intensive for me because I had other teammates in the school who previously had their own computer at their own house, or at
Mm.
least play with it. It was really challenging because I didn't even knew how to use the mouse, and I saw
Mm.
people already opening Paint and doing some drawings, and I was like, I
Mm.
don't know how to use this. So it was challenging, but as usual, I enjoy taking challenges and absorbing them.
Yeah.
And so I fall in love with the computers, and I said I want to work with this.
Mm.
So thankfully I had the chance to start to study, get a scholarship, because again I didn't have
Mm.
any money or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I studied computer science, and I
Mm.
started to work on a small shop here in Costa Rica, a small
Mm.
digital agency. I was actually their first hire. There was
Okay.
just a couple of friends who started doing some freelance work.
Mm.
Here in Costa Rica, we have a good
And
public
when is this? What year is this that we're talking about?
that is 2009.
2009. Okay. Okay.
2009. Yeah, when I
Cool.
graduate and I
Yeah.
got my computer science degree and I
Hmm.
started my first job.
Okay.
And this agency, there were two friends. They were getting some freelance work, mostly web and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
they were getting a lot of work. So they wanted to hire the first person, but they didn't have enough money to pay somebody.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
it was the perfect match for me. Very
Hmm.
low salary, but I learned tons with them because, it was the
Yeah.
first hire and they were doing pretty much everything, going
Yeah.
to
You
the
gotta start
meeting.
somewhere too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it was a great experience for me. They teach me
Yeah.
a lot of stuff. And
Mm.
the cool stuff, I will say that was probably the best thing that happened in my life,
Mm.
was that this company, they use Drupal, which is an open source content
Hmm.
management system.
Okay.
And since they use that framework, that PHP CMS, they love to contribute back to the Drupal community. Like, one of these two people who founded these agencies,
Mm.
he was like, "Hey, we want to hire you, but you also want to know that we contribute back to the Drupal community. So it's not obligated, but we
Right.
will love you to join us to the Drupal meetups every week that we do, to the monthly meetups, or even to the Drupal or stuff like that. And we would like you to, as you learn, you also teach other people." So
Right.
obviously, I said yes because I needed the job. But
Right.
that was the first interaction with a community, and I fall in love.
Hmm.
Like, the Drupal community is a kiss chef.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. They're amazing. Big shout out to anyone who's working with Drupal.
Mm.
And they were so welcoming. Like, they teach me a lot of stuff, and
Yeah.
that's how my career started. And ever since that first job, I was just doing whatever the job that I had, plus in parallel contributing to a community.
Right.
So I did a lot of, again, backend PHP and
Mm.
Drupal for maybe 3 to 4 years, and then I moved more to a front end development position.
Mm.
I worked for an agency in Seattle called Pop Agency, a great agency because they had amazing customers like Nintendo and Pokemon.
Right.
So I
Right.
started to work with projects on them, and they were very polished on the front end side, like
Okay.
very detailed. We had 2D animations, great internet. So I learned a lot about JavaScript, CSS, HTML,
Nice.
that portion of my career. But again,
Mm.
as I was working on these companies, I was contributing back. Then I joined the JavaScript community here in Costa Rica,
Mm.
going to the meetups, explaining people what I was doing, teaching them and helping them on their career. And then I moved more to a, let's say, full stack position. I
Okay.
started to work on a startup in San Francisco, which also had people here in Costa Rica. They will, at that time, they will call Schoolmint, which was a product for
Mm.
K-12 schools to onboard students, to manage all the students' communication, etc. And I was doing Ruby on Rails on the back end. And I remember at that time was Backbone.js, the framework, the famous framework at that moment was
Hmm.
Backbone.js.
Okay.
Then AngularJS came out and we
Mm.
switched to Angular. But anyway, I was doing full stack development over there. And then I
Okay.
switched to more of an infrastructure position or dev operations. So I did a lot of Kubernetes operations, CI/CD,
Hmm.
infrastructure, cloud operations, and that's where again, now switching to that type of position, I switch also to that community. So I contribute back, and that's where I started to work with Google Cloud. I joined the
Hmm.
Google Cloud community. I started to create content around Google Cloud, around their products, around their services. And so that's when Google reached out to me and I became a Google developer expert. I joined their program. And that was one of the biggest switches in my career because that really took me off. That was
Okay.
the time when I stopped going to local meetups and they
Mm.
started to invite me to presentations. New York, Canada. The Canada community is beautiful.
Yeah.
Montreal,
Hmm.
Vancouver, Toronto. Big shout out to the GDG groups over
Yeah.
there. And it was
And
just
when was this? Like what year ish are we
uh,
talking about?
that was 4 years ago.
4 years ago. Okay, so
4 years
this is like about 11 years of growth to get to that point, more or less.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. That's
And
amazing.
as I tell everyone, like I never
Yeah.
expect any money from this. I
Sure.
always
Yeah.
went to these communities to help
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at some point it happened, and it's fun because people
Mhm.
say like, "Oh, you had luck. You have an overnight success." No, it was not an overnight
No,
success.
it's a
It was
grind. It's years.
freaking 11 years of doing
Yeah.
this for free
Yeah.
on my own time after
Yeah.
working,
Mm.
and finally it paid back. So with
Yeah.
the Google developer community, I've been doing a lot of amazing content. I've been contributing with a lot of events across the globe,
Mm.
and that helped me to get the job that I have now, which is I have the experience in technology.
Mm.
I worked for, I would say I was 4 years as the technical director for a digital agency in New York. So I
Okay.
was managing more than a lot of developers. It was a
Mm.
huge digital agency. And I was like, I would say the peak of my
Hmm.
career. Like after that, it will be like, I don't know, CTO of a company.
Right.
But feeling fulfilled. And that's something that for me is, again, extremely important. Like not only
Mm.
earning money, yeah, that's great, working with clients,
Yeah.
but feeling fulfilled was something that
Yeah.
for me is very special. And
Yeah.
so that was the moment when I said, I want to get a job where I can do what I love,
Hmm.
contributing to people, working within the creative area, and get a paycheck.
Yeah.
And then the magic happened. Like AppSmith opened this position where they were looking for a developer advocate who had passion for enabling developers to do the best, to
Mm.
leverage their message, obviously to bring awareness and transformation and signups and everything that comes up with the DevRel marketing aspect, let's say, and product aspect,
Mm.
which is PLG and all of that stuff we can talk
Right.
later on. But at the end, it's just transforming the developer's life.
Right.
That's what I do. That's what I
Okay.
try to do in every engagement that I have, every video
Yeah.
that I create, every article that I write. In. I want the person who is watching or reading this to be
Hmm.
different after even in the presentations that I do on
Yeah.
like speaking.
Hmm.
And it was the beautiful moment. Like everything just changed in my life, and that's what I do right now. If I can
Hmm.
just concise it into one single word, it's really hard
Hmm.
because it's a lot of moving pieces. Like I can
Yeah.
be writing articles for a new feature that we're launching, or I could be just working with the internal product team to understand product market fit and try to understand what type of problems we're trying to solve for the right
Hmm.
people, for the right audience, who are these personas, what are the current problems that they're trying to solve, what are their challenges that they're trying
Yeah.
to overcome, and how we can do that as a product. So it's very technical, it's very creative at some points,
Mm.
but it's also it's a combination of customer success, product development, as
Mm.
a technical development, like coding actually, and this creative space where I do like cameras, live
Mm.
stream, videos, and there's some videos that I've done, like fun
Yeah.
videos, engagement
Yeah.
videos, film like videos. I've even done
Yeah.
characters.
Mhm.
It's a fun.
Yeah.
I
I
have
love that.
fun. That's what I try to do.
Yeah. What I want to know is has the sort of creative aspect and the technology aspect sort of been there the whole time and just grown together, or did like the technology start first and then the creativity kind of caught up? Like how did it work?
That's a great question. I will say you have to understand when you have momentum,
Hmm.
and that's one of my advices. Sometimes,
Hmm.
like when you have certain momentum on certain portion of your career,
Yeah.
you have to destroy it. Like you have to really own it.
Hmm.
So at some points, yeah, I had momentum as a developer, and I didn't focus on any creativeness or anything like that because I didn't have the time. I say like I'm doing well in this particular area of my life. So I was, for
Right.
example, when I was working with Kubernetes and a lot of infrastructure,
Hmm.
uh, I, I was just doing really well over there. So I said, I'm just
Yeah.
going to focus on this. I'm going to become certified on this technology. I'm just going to meet people on that area only. I'm not going to focus on anything else right now.
Hmm.
But at
Okay.
some point, when I was just doing more of a tech manager work, just
Mhm.
reviewing scope of work development, proposals, working with clients, being on meetings, reviewing code. At that moment, I was very stable, but I didn't have momentum. So that's when I
Right.
said
Okay.
I'm going to move to the creative portion. Now that
Mhm.
I'm stable in that area, I
Okay.
don't have any
Yeah.
like exposure or momentum.
Right.
Now let's go. So that's when I joined the
Okay.
film school,
That
and
makes
I started
sense.
to study more
Yeah.
formally how to produce films, what is the
Okay.
best way to composite or create
Okay.
compositions for videos.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that
How
was
did you
it.
juggle the film school with the tech? Like, how did you like the time, like time wise? Like, how do you have the time for all of
I know I don't have time. Like what I tell
that?
people, I don't
Yeah.
sleep. I used to not sleep. That
Yeah.
was a bad advice.
Right.
I,
Yeah.
I used to have very short sleep cycles because I was just
Mm.
doing what I loved. So having a
Yeah.
full time job and then going to
Yeah.
film school and I have to do
Right.
homework.
Yeah.
But at some point, I realized I'm killing myself. So now,
Right.
one of the things that I respect a lot is
Mhm.
my sleep cycle, eight
Right.
hours a day,
Yeah. That's
because
good.
if I don't sleep, I'm not gonna have the energy to continue producing. But yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes you have to sacrifice some
Mhm.
things. You have to
Right.
be uncomfortable on some areas of your
Yeah.
life in order to gain what you need to
Right.
be comfortable. So it
Yeah.
means being uncomfortable to then
Mhm.
being comfortable.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but you
I agree
always
with
have to
that.
put like an end date. Like I say, I'm gonna be doing this for maybe, I don't know, 6 months.
Right.
And I'm gonna kill myself for 6 months, but then
Yeah.
I'm gonna see the results, or I expect to see the results, and then I'm going to see the outcome of this particular investment that I'm doing, either
Mhm.
investment in money or in time or in
Yeah.
learning, whatever that is. You have to
Mhm.
have an outcome, and then you have to retrieve it back in a way. But yeah,
Okay. Nice. Yeah. It seems like you juggle so many things. Like, what does your like day to day work life look like?
like it's very different. I would say, normally what I do when I wake up is, I
Mhm.
normally have like a list of tasks. Some of them
Mhm.
have different outcomes. So I try to be,
Yeah.
again, outcome focused.
Mhm.
One of the outcomes that I have normally is trying to bring awareness. I have other people in my team.
Mhm.
Big shout out to Joseph.
Mhm.
Joseph is focusing a lot on growing our community. What that means is somebody who tried our product, who has been using our product, and try to help them to continue using it even
Mhm.
more, or to enable them to do more with the product. So that means they are already using the product. But my
Right.
goal is more on the awareness side, which
Mhm.
is these developers or this audience who doesn't understand about our product, who haven't seen the product before, but
Mhm.
they have the problems that our product solves.
Right.
And there are other multiple products who might be on the same linear. So I'm trying to differentiate us from them and explain to
Right.
them why our story matters for them.
Yeah.
And so, with that said, that particular goal can be achieved in multiple places, in
Mhm.
multiple ways. So my day to day can be reaching out, like understanding our customers, because AppSmith is a low code platform
Right.
at its core.
Okay.
So you connect multiple data sources.
Mhm.
We don't provide a database, so people have their own data sources, whatever that is, even legacy databases, Jira, Salesforce, a Postgres, a MongoDB database, whatever that data
Mhm.
source is where the data lives, they bring it together and they can do powerful dashboards with it,
Mhm.
or agents or AI enablement tools, which is what
Okay.
we're doing right now.
Yeah.
But long story short, I try to understand what the data sources from our customers are, and
Mhm.
I try to help them to bring those data sources, being able to write intensive queries, and being able to bring the data the way they need. So one of the things
Mhm.
that I do a lot is joint collaborations. So for
Okay.
example, today we're actually going live with Neo4j, which is a graph
Okay.
database platform,
Nice.
because we understand that a lot of our customers are trying to build tools on the top of graph databases to build
Yeah.
powerful rack solutions.
Mhm.
And so that's part of what I do. I reach out to their team, I explain
Mhm.
our solution, let's do a joint collaboration, let's
Yeah.
do cross documentation for integrations. And then when I get the chance and I'm in the US, whether San Francisco, New York, or where
Mhm.
their offices, I try to connect with them in person. I go to
Right.
their offices, or I
Yeah.
get them for a lunch, etc. So it's it's very changing. But again, the
Mhm.
outcome is the same. Try to
Yeah.
bring awareness to our audience. So it could be in the shape of a joint collaboration, of
Mhm.
formal documentation,
Mhm.
or it could be in the way of a video, which is a lot of
Right.
what I do, a
Yeah.
lot of video content. Because at the end, the video is the most consumed medium in the world.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
actually something that I'm presenting at DevRel next week,
Okay.
just talking about how to use video strategies for product-led growth.
Mhm.
Just a sneak peek about what I'm talking there.
Mhm.
But it's basically this, like how you take the most consumed medium in the world, which is video. 92% of the data that's being transmitted onto internet right now it's
Mhm.
video. It's
Right.
insane.
Yeah.
90%. It's
That's
and the
crazy.
amount
I
of it's
didn't know it
crazy.
was that much. Yeah. Okay.
It's huge.
Yeah.
So long story short,
Yeah.
that's how my day to day looks like.
Yeah. That's crazy. I mean, okay, if you talk to somebody like at a party who's not in tech, how would you describe what you do to them? Like that sounds like a difficult thing to describe. So there's so many like aspects to what you do.
Yeah, it happens. It happens a lot. Like when I talk to people who are not in
Yeah.
the tech space, and what do
Yeah.
you do? I will say that I don't like to categorize that way, but I will
Hmm.
say I'm just a tech influencer.
Sure. Okay.
If somebody from the
Yeah.
outside are like, oh, you're a YouTuber. No, 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 I'm not a YouTuber. I'm just influence
Yeah.
technical people in the best way because
Right.
unfortunately the influencer world has become a
Yeah.
complete
Yeah. There's a negative connotation to it.
yeah it's a
Yeah.
connotation like they
Yeah.
destroyed it, but at the end
Yeah.
influence is just helping people driving to a certain point, and in
Yeah.
my goal is driving them to success. That's what I do. I
Yeah.
influence developers to
Mhm.
success, and success
Right.
can be seen in a much different way, like maybe how
Mhm.
to have better response times, maybe
Right.
shipping faster. So the
Yeah.
outcome, the goal can be different, but again what I do is just influence that change basically.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, influence. There's two types of influence: positive
Yep.
influence and negative influence. Right. I mean, the problem is these days, like negative influence is what people want to see because it's more like exciting to them, you know. But having positive influence in the world right now, you know, I think it's a very important thing. But also another thing I wanted to ask you was, what type of person would you say is suitable for the type of role that you do? Someone that has to have a lot of energy, I would imagine.
So like what do they need in order to do my job, or
Yeah, like I don't know, like a personality trait that they would need, something like that.
mm. This is something that I've been telling a lot of people when they
Hmm.
ask me something similar to this, and
Yeah.
it's like for me the technical aspects are
Hmm.
not relevant anymore. Like
Okay.
you have access to AI now who can write
Hmm.
code
Yeah.
faster and maybe sometimes even better than actual people.
Yeah.
Uh, so what for me is key and has been always key is
Hmm.
the soft skills, the
Right.
communication skills. Uh, for example, I've had the chance to participate in multiple hiring processes for
Okay.
multiple companies. Like I work for IBM
Yeah.
and for different other companies. Like it's a long list of companies I've worked with,
Yeah.
and I must say that probably most of the times that I got hired,
Hmm.
there was someone better than me from a technical standpoint. I
Sure.
bet there was
Yeah.
somebody better,
Right.
but that person could not articulate, could not
Yeah.
explain why
Mm.
they needed that job or why they
Right.
was the best person for that job.
Right. Okay.
And for me, it's really important to understand that communication skills are key. Like if
Mm.
you might be the freaking best genius that exists, but if you cannot
Mm.
articulate, you cannot work as a team, unfortunately that's not going to help you. So I will
Right.
say that for me communication skills is key, and right now it is even higher because one of the things that I've learned is I have to understand the people that I'm talking to,
Mm.
what are the language, what do they
Right.
care about.
Right.
Because I have to do that all the time. Like I go to product team, I go and talk to my CEO and my CPO, and I understand they're trying to come up with a product that can help us growth. I
Yeah.
understand what their pain points are. I'm not
Mm.
gonna go and talk to them about a camera that I need to buy or
Yeah.
a event that I want to go and speak that they
Yeah.
can help me get you know get in there.
Yeah.
That's not their language. I'm gonna
Right.
talk with them about the expected that camera or that event that I'm gonna be speaking is gonna have.
Right.
Same thing with
Mm.
customer success. The same thing with marketing team. Like I understand who are they and how
Mm.
can I talk their own language.
Right.
And I think that's key in any type of
Yeah.
work that you do. Like I will say, you should. Like one of the things that changed my life was
Mm.
I used to is if I had some money to invest in myself, I will
Hmm.
go and pay for a course in I don't know. I'm going
Right.
to learn I don't know Azure, and I'm going to get a
Sure.
certification in Azure, and it was
Yeah.
all very technical. But
Yeah.
what changed me was when I say I'm going to invest money
Hmm.
in becoming a better facilitator, a better communicator,
Okay.
and I got
Mm.
my own mentor in how to speak, and I'm still
Okay.
learning a lot on this
Yeah. Okay.
big journey, but it gave me a lot of tools to be
Hmm.
able to say it's empathy. At the
Yeah.
end, I'm talking
Yeah.
to you or to a large audience with
Yeah.
hundreds and thousands of people,
Right.
empathy I do with them.
Yeah.
But it's not always easy. So that's why I will
Mm.
say work on your communication skills, basically, even
Okay.
more in this. complicated times where AI is just doing a lot of the technical stuff and is going to continue
Yeah.
doing more and more push the
Yeah.
AI stuff. So I will say this is key: being able to
Okay.
use those tools, these technical
Yeah.
tools, at your own benefit to produce some sort of positive outcome.
Okay, nice. I like that. We have only a couple minutes left, but I wanted to ask you about the AI angle because I noticed on your LinkedIn you describe yourself as an AI DevRel. What does that mean?
So it means that I worked with AI before nobody
Mhm.
really wanted AI.
Okay.
I remember I used to work with IBM Watson. I was working for
Right.
IBM,
Yeah.
and they were one of the first companies like trying to bring AI into the enterprise
Hmm.
section, and it was hard. Like
Yeah.
they have really solid products. I must admit that Watson was a really solid product. Their text to speech was amazing, and I remember talking to different companies about, hey, we have this product, and you
Hmm.
might want to try. I was doing some sort of pre-sales work and some technical work as well,
Okay.
and we were presented really really interesting demos for telecommunication companies, for
Hmm.
health companies, and
Yeah.
there was a lot of pushback like, hey, we don't like artificial intelligence. That was
Right.
like, I will say 8, maybe 9 years ago.
Okay.
Now everybody wants AI and the adoption rate is huge, but that's
Hmm.
why I say I'm a senior AI developer advocate, is because
Okay.
I understood what machine learning algorithms and what AI adoption meant when nobody wanted, and now
Hmm.
I can drive all of that into this current space where I know that a lot of people are looking forward, and it has
Right.
grown enormously uh,
Yeah.
from
Aggressively,
what
very
it was.
quickly. Yeah.
There are a lot
Yeah.
of challenges and a lot of things that sometimes I don't share on how things are happening.
Sure.
Um, Mostly on the creative. Unfortunately, I have seen the impact on fellow video
Hmm.
producers and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah. Graphic designers, people like that. Yeah.
yeah, but again,
Mm.
you have to adopt. Unfortunately, you have to adopt, and
Yeah.
you have to find ways to use these tools at your own benefit.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's what I try to speak. Like at the end,
Mm.
if I'm telling a story with an AI generated video or myself,
Hmm.
it doesn't matter what the actual medium is. What it matters is the structure of the story that I'm telling.
Right.
It's good.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to do myself. Like
Yeah.
I probably maybe in 5 years my videos won't be myself. Will be probably AI
Mm.
generated. But what
Right.
matters is the structure of the story. What is
Right.
the arc? What is the
Yeah.
transformative power of that particular piece of video? Because now
Mm.
everybody generates AI video, but they're all crap because they don't understand the
Right.
structure of a
Right.
good video. And
Yeah.
that's not something that unfortunately AI understand. AI is just
Yeah.
at the end a non-deterministic tool that it will do
Right.
what you'd say. And
Yeah.
it
I
will
mean, the AI is like a camera. It doesn't like in the same way a camera doesn't make you a good photographer or a good filmmaker, right? Because I mean,
yeah,
you're a
exactly.
trained filmmaker. You know, you understand the tenets of filmmaking, right? So you, whatever the tool is, whether it's a camera or AI, you have the knowledge to use it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I remember one of
Yeah.
the things that I learned in film school, which for me was
Mm.
extremely powerful and it still applies
Yeah.
today. And I know we don't have a lot of time, but it's very quickly,
Yeah. It's
which is
okay. Keep
like
going. Yeah.
my teacher at that moment say, you don't
Mm.
understand the impact of a specific shot in a specific frame has
Yeah.
on the people perception.
Yeah.
And even more when you apply a different shot before the next shot. So
Yeah.
they show us a shot of somebody on that person was just laying on his
Mm.
head like
The
this.
Kuleshov effect, right? That's what it's called, isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
know that. You know your
Yeah,
stuff, man.
I'm a bit of a film guy myself. Actually, I'm not trained, like I said, but I'm an enthusiast, I guess you could say.
Lovely.
Yeah,
So whatever frame you put before that specific shot is going to people say, "Oh,
yeah,
that person is dead," or "Oh, that person is sleeping," or "That person
mm,
is really relaxed," or "That person is
yeah,
extremely stressful." And again, it was just because you changed the context of what you shown previously
exactly,
before that
right,
chat that it
yeah,
changed people perception. Now, all of
yeah,
that is something that you cannot expect an AI tool to learn. They will just generate an
exactly,
outcome, which
yeah,
is a piece of video.
yeah,
You can say,
yeah,
put somebody on a sleeping bed with their hands on their chest, and that's what it's going to generate.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah,
So I guess this is the a key
mm,
moment in the history of humanity.
yeah,
And again, going back to the same thing that I was saying, yeah,
mm,
learn your craft, but
yeah,
also try to identify your path, take
yeah,
relentless action, build momentum throughout consistency, and
yeah,
surround yourself with the right people.
yeah, and stay contemporary. Also, keep up with the trends of the day, and use whatever technology comes up any way that you can, as best as you can. I think.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, and
Okay.
I
Sorry.
see nice comment, and
Yeah.
people start to also now
Mm,
evaluate a lot of the craft. Like when you see something was handmade,
Right.
and people took time to make it, that has more
Yeah.
value and normally has a bigger price. And I think that's going to happen in the future with videos and stuff like that. Like, people are
Yeah.
going to say, wow, this was human made. I see the effort that a whole crew production took to
Yeah.
create this video versus
Yeah.
just an AI tool. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's better. I'm
Mm.
saying that people will appreciate maybe the art behind that production as a
Yeah.
handmade craft.
Yeah.
So I think there's a space for everyone in this
Yeah.
industry.
It's all about the way you use it. I mean, it's the same thing as like film effects going from practical to CGI. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
if you go
exactly.
watch like, if you compare like Avatar to like I don't know, like one of the Marvel movies or something, you can see that there's a different level of effort and a different level of of human touch that goes into it. You know, it's not just that they're like the same technology, but it's about the way, the effort that's been put in to using it. I think, you know.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly true. But yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, so we're almost done. We're almost done. A couple of just final quick questions.
yeah, yeah.
So is there somebody you want to shout out? Someone who's doing some cool work that you want to give a shout out to? Anything like that?
Oh man, there's a lot of people. Obviously, the Torc team, Taylor,
Right.
Jason, like I love them. I
Right.
met them
Right.
at Durham in the All Things Open AI, and I'm just cannot wait to meet them again.
Yeah.
And the whole community around Torc, it's just
Mm.
amazing.
Yeah.
So big shout out to them. Obviously to my friend, my coworker
Mm.
Joseph. We're gonna be at
Mm.
DevRel Con next week.
Nice.
We're gonna be producing a lot of content over there. So if you happen to be in New York and you
Mm.
happen to be around the Manhattan area and you want to meet us, let us know. We'll be
Yeah.
there recording videos and just talking with people. Uh, man, and I don't know a lot of people that I know. Jason, I've seen Jason Leffendorf, who is doing the Code
Mm.
TV challenges.
Okay.
Amazing production, like they're doing this freaking amazing production
Yeah.
and bringing people to like doing a coding challenge
Mm.
live in person, and they have this whole people just capturing the emotions and the process
Yeah.
that goes into building, and it's just beautiful. So a big shout
Yeah.
out to Jason, and who's doing this amazing code TV production. um and yeah, just everyone around
That's
there
great.
who are hanging out in these tough
Yeah.
times around the world, because yeah,
I love that.
everything
That's
is,
perfect. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Great. Any final piece of wisdom you want to leave us with before we finish up?
Yeah, actually, one of the things that I want to say
Mm.
is, one thing that I've learned in,
Mm.
in everything that I've done over the past 15 years is that
Yeah.
everything is cumulative.
Right.
And
Okay.
honestly, sometimes you have to forget about your career,
Mm.
because everything that you do in your life is community. So, for example, if you go travel, you
Mm.
talk to other people, you
Yeah.
walk on a different street every day, you watch different movies, you go
Yeah.
to an art gallery, you listen to different music, you develop your taste and your
Mm.
judgment,
Right.
because then whatever you are put in front of a good opportunity,
Mm.
your personality that you nurtured with all of these things,
Right.
you have something to bounce off, and you are
Yeah.
unique. So I will
Yeah.
say that sometimes all of these things that you sometimes feel that are not accumulating in your life,
Yeah.
whatever those experiences are, they are, and you will see that later on in the future.
Yeah.
So let yourself just process everything that is happening in your life and understand
Mm.
this has a purpose. This is
Yeah.
happening because of a reason that I'm not seeing yet, but it's cumulative, and I will see it
Yeah.
in the future. So that
Yeah.
will be my piece of
I
advice.
love that.
Like,
That's such good advice. That's
yeah,
that's terrific. That's really great. I mean, I agree with that 100%. I think everything that you sort of absorb throughout your life, it kind of adds up, and it kind of makes you over time. You know, because life is all about living and learning. You know, and growing. And you take whatever you can to help you grow, whether it's information from someone else, a book you read, a movie you watched, a course you did. You take everything you can and you use it to improve yourself and to improve your life and try and help others as much as you can too, I suppose. You know.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Well, Kevin, it was amazing having you on the show. Thank you so much for coming. Everyone who's not connected with Kevin, please connect with them. Also, definitely check out his YouTube page. A couple days ago, he uploaded a video that explains again what he does with some
Mhm.
with some video examples. So I definitely recommend checking that video out. I will link it in the comments.
Mhm.
And yeah, connect with Kevin. And thanks again for being here. And we will be back next week with my next guest, whoever it is. I can't remember who it is, but I have somebody for next week. So we're back. All right. Goodbye,
Awesome.
everybody.
Thank you, Angelos. Take
Thank
care,
you, Kevin.
everyone. See you
Kevin,
around.
stick around so I can say goodbye to you backstage.
Yeah, yeah, totally.